You're listening to LSU Daily with Matt Musso, your home for all things LSU sports.
Off and running here on another edition of LSU Daily. Welcome in and glad to have you along for the ride. Thank you for being here. We have plenty to tackle here on today's show. A little bit of LSU football, dealing with some recruiting, albeit a dead period. There is still a little bit of news from guys who are committed. A look ahead to Louisiana, decommits. So plenty to get into there. LSU baseball just a couple days away from opening up the 2025 season, and Jay Johnson is already confirming things about his starting lineup. What? That never happens, but he's doing it. You've probably seen it, but we'll give you some thoughts on that as well before we get out of here. And the LSU men's basketball team is back on the floor Wednesday night up at Bud Walton Arena against Arkansas, their only conference win of the year, and they are trying to snap a 6-game winning streak. There is really only one thing that I am interested in that game tonight, and I'll let you know what it is, but it is singular. One. So we'll kind of punctuate the show with that. I know interest in LSU basketball wanes here. Some maybe barely hanging on by a thread, and I don't blame you. The loss to Ole Miss was hideous, and plenty of the losses leading up to that in this 6-game losing streak were also hideous. So I don't blame you whatsoever. But anyway, subscribe, share, like, follow on social media, Twitter X at Musso Matthew, Facebook, you can find me, Matt Musso, and then Instagram as well, at Matthew Musso 1. All of that is greatly appreciated. Let's dive right in. We're going to start with LSU baseball actually today because they are just a couple days away from opening up against Purdue Fort Wayne, and Jay Johnson did something that he never does. He tipped his hand. This will probably be the last time that happens this season. He will speak with the media later on Wednesday, so we will see if we get any kind of other information, perhaps with a starting rotation. But I feel pretty comfortable in what I've talked about on Musso at the Box with the starting rotation. If you've kind of missed that, I think Cade Anderson goes Friday. I think Anthony Ianson goes Saturday or game 2. And then I think Chase Shores rounds out your rotation in game number 3 to start the season here. Cade Anderson's just been phenomenal. I mean, he's been your best pitcher since the start of fall ball, especially in a starting capacity. I mean, Connor Ware's been awesome out of the bullpen and in roles like that, but in a starting capacity, it has been Cade Anderson. The list has started with Cade Anderson every time. He has earned the right through his play to get that opening day start, and at this point, I'd be flat out floored if he does not. Anthony Ianson's been very steady as well. I put him there. I think him and Chase Shores can really be what and what. It wouldn't surprise me if those flip. But right now, I do think Ianson gets the go. And with Shores, Sunday feels like the right spot for him right now as you bring him along. We've talked about it plenty on Musso at the Box. We've talked about it here on this show. It's going to take time. While we're all very familiar with Chase Shores, we've heard all about him. We got the small taste his freshman season in 2023. Missing an entire year, he only has 18 1/3 innings. He's going to go through some things now that he's never been through. That is working his way out of jams, right? Stretching out in longer outings, pitching in front of bigger crowds, pitching on the road, all those kinds of things that he just has not really experienced in his time. And it's going to take some, time to shake off the rust. So I think Sunday's a great spot for that. And hopefully Cade Anderson really takes the bull by the horns, really takes advantage of his opportunity on game 1 and Friday night. I should say in game 1 on Friday night, Anthony Ianson lives up to the hype that we've all heard about him. It translates over from the lower level to the Southeastern Conference, and that would be great. And if by the time you roll around to conference play, Chase Shores has really kind of established himself in that third starter role, you're in a really, really good spot there. You have arguably the best rotation in college baseball at that point. If you can leave Chase Shores on Sunday, and I think honestly, if Jay Johnson was letting you behind the curtain, I think he'd probably tell you that's something they'd love to have. That'd be kind of a perfect world. If you could have a guy like Chase Shores throwing 98 on the back end of a weekend, starting game 3 when you're going in rubber matches in the SEC and things of that nature. Now, the one thing I will say is it's going to take time there too. Likened it a lot to the Gage Jump situation. Gage Jump was awesome in the pre-conference. He got into the conference slate. He flashed a little bit against Florida, had a rough outing against State to open, flashed a little bit against Florida, went through some growing pains, and once he hit Missouri, it was full bore the rest of the way. And it gave you the 1-2 punch you so sorely needed with him and Luke Holman. this is going to be could be very similar to Chase Shores. We will just have to wait and see how it goes. But that's what I think they do with the rotation. Now, I didn't really intend to start there, just kind of did. Where Jay Johnson tipped his hand was he was doing an interview with Kendall Rogers and I believe Mike Scarborough, and Jay confirmed what we had long all thought. And again, this isn't a very big surprise. This is what they wanted. Like, this was their plan. This is how they wanted it to shake out on the left side of the infield. And at least for game number one, it has. Stephen Milam will start at shortstop. Michael Braswell will start at third base on Friday when the Tigers take the field. Again, it's not a very surprising move. We knew Milam was moving over to the left side, and we knew the design on that was for him to play shortstop. I have been pretty damn impressed with him at shortstop so far through the preseason scrimmages that I've been able to see. I think he's got plenty of arm. He's got the quick twitch to him. He's got the range. I mean, I've seen him range left and or right, into the deep hole towards third, deep into the deep up the middle, throw on the run, throw across his body. He's been able to showcase just about everything at short, and it's been pretty good. The arm is good enough. Like, it is good enough. Is it the best arm LSU's ever seen from shortstop? No, but he's got plenty on the throw, and it's around the bag. It's accurate. That's the most important thing, because you have a really good first baseman over there in Jared Jones. It's going to be able to save some of the throws that might be low or a tad wide, but Milam keeps it around the base. And he made a play Sunday. He made two plays Sunday when I was out there that were exquisite. Jake Brown was the hottest hitter for LSU last weekend in the final tune-up, and he steps up his first at bat, laces the ball at the middle, looks like it's ticketed for center field, and Milam robs him of a hit. Ranges over, scoops it, all in one motion, throws on the run to get a speedy runner in Brown coming out of the left-handed batter's box. It was a great stretch by Eddie Yaman. It wasn't the most, but, that's what I'm talking about. Throw around the bag, right? And then the very next inning, Luis Hernandez hits kind of a chopper into the sixth hole. Milam ranges towards third, backhands, throws back across his body, jump throw style, and hits Eddie Yaman right in the chest to nail Hernandez. Those were the two best plays, the two most flashy plays that he's made. And they both took place Sunday, but, I mean, he's made plenty of just the routine as well. So I feel actually really good about Stephen Milam at shortstop. I know some are still a little skeptical. I feel really good about it, and I'm fired up to see it. In the same vein, Michael Braswell just looks comfortable at third base. He has made some really, really nice plays over there as well, ranging in front of Milam, to cut off the ball and throw on the run and things of that nature. He's got the arm strength. When we saw him play shortstop last season, so he's got the arm strength to play third. And it's the best way I can really describe it. I don't want that to kind of sound like a cop-out, but he just looks comfortable. So why not? Let's roll with it. It's not to say you won't see Michael Braswell play shortstop at all on opening weekend. Maybe you will. But I think their plan, I know their plan is for Milam to play short, Braswell to play third, and Jay Johnson confirmed that that's what you will see. And when I say that, I mean for the bulk of the season. And Jay Johnson confirmed that that's what you'll see on Friday. So it's kind of a thought on the rotation, kind of a thought on Jay's decision there. The other thing that I will say, Tanner Reeves is going to play. He's been awesome in the preseason. He's really pushed for reps. And Jay Johnson himself, back in June of last year, of 2024, when talking about Tanner Reeves, he ended his quote on Reeves by saying, that's a player I've had a lot of success with. Like, that's the type of player I've had a lot of success with. And, I mean, I can see why. Wiry strength guy from the left side hitting, had a couple home runs in the preseason, has a great glove, can play all three infield positions. Jay even thinks he could potentially play outfield. He's that athletic. That's a guy who's going to play, and you're going to see him this opening weekend. I think you'll see Danny Dickinson at second on opening day, but Tanner Reeves is going to get some run on the infield here opening weekend because he's earned it. He's pushed for that playing time. I think Luis Hernandez has probably pulled ahead now in the catcher conversation, so look for him potentially there. And Jake Brown, after the weekend that he just had, I think he's earned the start in right field. So those are kind of your spots you were looking at going, oh, what's going to happen there? It's kind of where I think you are for LSU baseball. Again, they open up the season Friday against Purdue Fort Wayne. Valentine's Day, 2 p.m. first pitch. Okay, let's go ahead and switch gears to LSU football. As I said, a little bit of news in the... hold on, my computer is malfunctioning. Okay, there we go. Got it back. A little bit of news there. Obviously, it's a dead period, but recruiters can still talk to, media and things of that nature. And you'll remember last week, at least I believe it was last week, if not, it was the week before, very recently, we told you that JaReylen McCoy, edge rusher, decommitted from LSU after just about a month being committed. He committed at the Under Armour All-American game and has backed off that pledge. But he spoke with Chad Simmons from On3. And revealed his official visits for the summer. So they are, he has 5 of them. Florida and Auburn are getting the visits May 16th. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, June 6th. And then LSU, June 20th. So those are his 5 for the summer, and his 5 in general. LSU getting the last one, that's interesting. Ole Miss definitely seems like their biggest competition. He's out of Tupelo. It was after 2 trips to Oxford in 3 weeks that he decommitted from LSU. So, obviously all eyes pointed there. And look, he's going to be a difficult one to get out of Mississippi. Extremely talented guy. One of the best players in that state. They're going to want to keep him home. Ole Miss is obviously very committed when it comes to recruiting and giving the resources to Lane Kiffin that he needs. So that's going to be a tough pull for LSU. But he mentioned when he decommitted that LSU was still very much in it. And you can tell he's truthful, at least up to this point, by scheduling the official visit, and not only that, the last official visit that he will take. So you got a long way to go. Guy taking his officials in summer, he's going to get plenty of unofficials throughout the season, I'm sure, as well. So you have to keep an eye on there. The good news is LSU, even with McCoy in the boat, even with McCoy decommitting, they never stopped in their pursuit of defensive linemen and edge rushers. There's plenty of guys that LSU is in on if McCoy does not end up back in the boat. And what I will tell you is LSU, when you look at the 2026 class, and look, y'all, we talk about this every single year. We talk about it every single year. You have to lock down Louisiana, right? That's your first priority. Build a wall around Louisiana, get the best players, and then branch out. That is no more true than it is in the 2026 cycle. When you look at the class of 2026 in Louisiana, it is one of the best in recent memory for the state, and they've had some really, really good ones. Six of the top 100 players in the country per On3 are out of the state of Louisiana. 6 of the top 100. Obviously, Lamar Brown, everybody's real familiar with him already, out of U High on LSU's campus. He is the number 1 interior O-lineman in the country per On3, number 11 player nationally. That's somebody you really need to get. Of course, everyone's very familiar with Blaine Bradford, number 2 player of the state, 14th nationally, and the number 1 safety. So of those six, you have 2 players who are number 1 in the country at their position. Another in Richard Anderson out of Carr on the defensive line, who is number 2 in the nation at his position. And then Aiden Hall, a safety out of Edna Carr, who is already committed to LSU, as is Anderson, is the number 5 player at his position. So add it all up, 6 top 100 players, 5 in the top 10 at their position, 2 the number 1 player in their position. Louisiana is massive for LSU this year, as it is every, but potentially even bigger because of just the talent crop. You get the majority of those 6 guys, 5 of the 6, hell, you get all 6. You can keep them in the boat. That's the best foundation you could ask for. and then you could branch out and fill in the rest of the class with maybe a JaReylen McCoy or some of the other edge rushers that you're in on. So that's huge right there, man, for LSU, and we'll see what happens with McCoy. That's going to be one to watch. He was at one time committed. It's going to be a tough grab out of Mississippi, away from Ole Miss, but one to watch, and even if it doesn't work out, really, really focus on the state of Louisiana because it is an awesome, awesome class this season. Okay, one more thing left to do. LSU basketball, they're on the road Wednesday night against Arkansas. Arkansas is LSU's only win of the season in conference play. It was a great game. If you remember, 78-74, LSU, overcame a couple different deficits in that ball game, double digits even, and ultimately pulled away a 20-3 run down the stretch. Jordan Sears was awesome down the stretch, and Cam Carter scored a season high. And that's kind of what LSU is needed for themselves to win. The loss on Ole Miss was absolutely hideous. The loss to Ole Miss, I should say, on Saturday at home was hideous. 72-70. I don't need to rehash all of this, but LSU was up 70-59 with 3:15 to go and allowed a 13-0 run where they only got off one shot, and they lost the game at home 72-70. It's inexcusable that you didn't get across the finish line there. It goes into a bunch of other things that have been inexcusable over the last few weeks for this ball club as they're on a 6-game losing streak. And for that reason, the one thing, it's not even does LSU go win in Bud Walton. Bud Walton's a really tough place to play, and Arkansas is playing like a completely different team since the last time that you saw them. They went on the road and beat Kentucky. They went on the road, beat Texas, and then they lost by 3 against Alabama, who's the number 2 team in the country, and just skunked Texas on Tuesday night. Arkansas, Coach Cal's got them playing much better. The only thing I care about is LSU's fight tonight. Can they get off the mat after that gut punch against Ole Miss, where you played 37 minutes of the best basketball you've played all year, and then all your issues creep up down the stretch in the final 3 minutes, turnovers, scoring drought, can't get shots off, just all everything that was, missed free, you couldn't even get to the line, which is the best thing that you do, is make your free throws. How do they get off the mat? Because that was an absolute punch in the gut, and it was heinous. And Matt McMahon, he talked about it after the loss. How do you keep team morale up after that?
Yeah, I think just like anything in life, from a perspective standpoint, it's crushing. I mean, it is what it is. If you take the perspective of that's a top 15 in the team in the country, which I believe it is. Coach Beard's done a fantastic job, and he showed for 36 minutes that you can play with a team if you're connected as one and competing at a high level. So that'll be the only way I'll know to move forward, is to take that perspective, learn from it, come in and work on Monday, and get ready to play at Arkansas Wednesday.
So there you go. That's that. That's the one thing I want to see. Are they competitive? LSU has largely been not competitive on the road. The Alabama game's kind of the outlier, at least in conference play. They've been not competitive on the road. The Alabama game is the outlier. You're heading back on the road after a tough loss. How do you get off the mat? I don't expect you to win. Arkansas's playing too well now. I think they're going to beat you. But does LSU show the fight and make it competitive? That's the one singular thing I'm looking for in the ball game tonight for the Tigers. All right, that's going to wrap it up, y'all. Be sure to subscribe, share, follow me on social media, and I'll be here next time for more on LSU Daily.